What happens when Michael Bay gets together with Ryan Reynolds, 150 million Netflix bucks, and about 2 ounces of cocaine? You get the Six Underground. Six Underground is Michael Bay's wildly expensive original Netflix film starring Ryan Reynolds, Dave Franco for a little bit, and a group of relatively newcomers. I didn't really recognize any of them as a group of underground super spies that can do what the government cannot. And this does not in any way make for a good film. It is absolutely phonetic, crazy, shit just blows up everywhere, a lot of times without any explanation to why it's blowing up. One of the games I played throughout the film was count the number of fruit carts that seem to explode as if they contain gunpowder and gasoline, along with seeing if you can calculate how many cars are for some reason split in half. I counted at least 3 different times in the film where a car just randomly got cut in half for no reason. And one of them actually hit one of those aforementioned fruit carts, exploding fruit carts, that doesn't really have any reason to be there. This is a absolute crazy film. You can tell that there wasn't much of a plan other than to give Ryan Reynolds a number of those little self-referential comical moments where he kind of looks off to the camera and makes a joke and then cuts around to something else. There's horrible pacing in this film. It opens with a street race through Italy, culminating with multiple car explosions and, spoiler warning, the loss of the better Franco in this film. The story in this film is very thin. It kind of focuses on Ryan Reynolds' quest to take down who, they don't say it, but it's pretty much Bashir al-Assad from Syria, is who they're creating this dictator in the film that they have to take down, who part of the motivation for Ryan Reynolds going after him is he does drop some various poison gas on refugees, killing a number of children, people, and that does inspire Ryan Reynolds to create this group, the Sixth Underground, who are able to go after and do things that government officials can't. It's a very hectic film. There's almost always something going on. A lot of times it's too much. Stuff's going boom, 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 blowing up here and there. And if you're someone who has issues with flashing lights, a lot of rapid noise or things like that, this is not a film you want to watch, because almost from the word go, the film has explosions, action that don't really make sense, and a lot of phonetic cuts. I don't think there's any shots in the film that hold longer than 10, 12 seconds. In fact, throughout the action sequences, most of the cuts or shots only last 2 to 5 seconds, and that's giving it something. Most of the time it's just a Dutch angle here, boom, cut to another angle. And a lot of times the editing is very poor in this film. One of the car chases, there's an explicit scene where you see the side of the car get wrecked, knocks off the rear view mirror, and then in about every other shot that follows after that, the car's not damaged on the side, it's still got the mirror. And there's even instances where they cut to the character who's driving and you can see the mirror still there when it's not still there. And those are little things, but in terms of a movie that has a $150 million budget, it has Michael Bay, who's known for having the TNA, the explosions, and really not much of a storyline. It didn't work for me on any level. It's not a good film. The acting of it is not very good. Ryan Reynolds does his best to be as funny as he can. He is a funny guy, but he doesn't save this in any capacity. And they try to do a little bit of backstory on his character, but a lot of times they'll say something about it. Specifically, there's one instance where the special forces soldier that he recruited sees him basically beat up 3 guys and kill all of them really quickly, and he's like, well, where did you learn that? And it's never really brought up where he learned that. It just kind of maybe hints towards that he was doing something. He's kind of like a Bruce Wayne character that's in a more realistic world, but it's not realistic at all. Multiple scenes, like I said, that there's cars that just randomly blow up. The car chases are just... It doesn't work for me on really any level. The film is not very good. It seems to be just another one of those Hail Marys that Netflix has thrown lately, where they take an A-level director and of course an A-level actor in Ryan Reynolds to make a film that maybe can bring people in, maybe not. It actually kind of reminds me more of the Will Smith starring film Bright, in that they get a high quality actor, a lot of money for a film that probably didn't need to be made, and they end up with a stinker in terms of any critical or any audience reviews, because it's very disjointed, disconnected, and doesn't have a story that's readily easily to follow. And I couldn't recommend this film on it. Honestly, it is on Netflix, so if you have a Netflix account, it may be something to turn on in the background, but it is one of those films where you can just turn it on at one point, come back to it 20, 30 minutes later, and you're probably going to be looking at another car chase. It's very similar to the one you saw before, or an action set piece where you got a lot of people running with guns blazing, shooting everything in sight, with not a whole lot of consequences for those actions. Like, the opening scene is like a 20-minute chase scene throughout Italy. Venice, I'm not for sure exactly what city it's in. And nothing happens. One would think if you're blowing up cars or if you're running around hitting statues, you almost take out the statue of David in the museum, then you would have police everywhere. And conveniently enough, they cut to the left and the police come and turn down the right. And you're like, not necessarily believable. I would not recommend this film. It's not a very good film. It's not even a bad film that Ryan Reynolds is in, that you can watch and enjoy him in it. And I think it actually kind of hampered his star power a little bit by him being in this movie and it not being a coherent story, or not being one that's really accessible to people, in that everything just appears to be happening as more of a contrived set of coincidences, more so than an actual story where they're building up towards a certain action or going after this dictator who, poisons a lot of his own citizens with gas and stuff. And then they have the brother of the dictator, who's kind of the spoiled rich kid who doesn't want to be involved, or he doesn't want to have the throne. He'd rather just sit on the background. And then all of a sudden he's like, yes, I want the throne. Honestly, they kind of stole a scene from Breaking Bad where Walt uses the junkyard magnet to fry the computer in the police evidence locker. There's one set piece where this is kind of their whole plan, is to use a set of magnets to mess with people, and it goes on for like 15 or 20 minutes, and you're kind of like, why don't you just shoot them instead of keep using this magnet? And it doesn't really help out the story at all. It just seems to be a series of one-upper quest where you start with one thing and then, oh no, we only had 2 cars explode. Now we need 4 cars. Now we need 6 cars. Now we need a massive $100 million yacht to blow up. What else could we do? And it just didn't really work for me. And I was kind of disappointed with it because I don't like a lot of Michael Bay's films, but I find them entertaining to some degree. I like The Rock that he did with Sean Connery and Nicolas Cage. I like the first Bad Boys movie a little bit. Bad Boys 2 was Michael Bay all the way, explosions everywhere. But most of his films are just very frenetic energy that just goes crazy and stuff starts blowing up and you don't really know what's going on. And because of that, I can't recommend this film. I would say skip it. Unless you have a Netflix account and a couple hours to spare, then go for it. Other than that, just leave it there. Thank you.